And then Maddie, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and get started with your presentation.
All right, sounds good. Can everybody hear me okay? I kind of talk quietly, so I need to project, but it's on Zoom, so I figured it's fine. Um, so thank you all for coming out today. It's nice to see like full classrooms. My name is Maddie. I am a AmeriCorps Vista member at the Hokelman Center. And I'm super happy to be here today and see all of you guys, even if it's on Zoom. So I'm gonna try to share my screen real quick. Should be good. Okay. Is it working?
Yeah, we can see it perfectly.
Okay. All right, awesome. All right, so thinking about college, start here. So again, my name is Maddie. I am a Rochester Youth Year Fellow at the Hokelman Center for Health Beyond Medicine. So it's a public health nonprofit at U of R that works to connect doctors with the community. It's been a lot of fun working here. I'm working on a college coaching project that connects high school seniors with undergrad students at U of R to get them on the road to college. So it's nice to talk to you guys about that too. So a little overview. I'm going to be talking about why college, is it right for you, college matching and what that is, finding your path, applying, and financial aid and those types of things. So let's get right into it. So why college? When considering education, it can feel like kind of a trade-off where you spend money now in order to make more money later. So it's no secret that the level of education that you have correlates with the amount of money that you make generally. And jumping through hoops for education can feel kind of overwhelming, but it's important to remember that school is an investment, and making decisions towards school now can pay off in the future. So that's why college. So college matching. Um, so this is kind of the basis of the project that I work on, and it is definitely applicable everywhere. So I wanted to let you guys know. So college matching refers to a student doing the research to find what college is best for them. So the research shows that when students find a school that's able to accommodate for all their needs, whether it's socially or academically or personally, like they have a much higher chance of graduating from that college. For first generation and low income students, college can be extremely overwhelming. It can result in culture shock sometimes. And without members of their family to kind of guide them through college and adjusting to a new environment, they can feel kind of lonely and experience social alienation. And a lot of times that ends up leading to students dropping out of college and not being successful. So college matching is all about doing the research to find that the college that you're going to go to is going to be the most accommodating for you and what you need in a school, just to increase like your level of graduating, your likelihood of graduating. So some important things to consider when you're doing your college search. Firstly, academics. When you're looking for schools, be sure to ask yourself the question of how do my grades stack up compared to the average student at that college? And some sites I've found helpful for this are sites like Niche and Naviance, and I will link those at the end if you want to check them out. There's also some good matching quizzes that you can do on there. But another thing I found with this one is finding kind of where you stack up compared to the average student at a school also increases your likelihood of getting in. It decreases your likelihood of getting rejected, which no one likes. That's just the worst. So another thing is you want to look into degree programs. So what are the like shining star programs of the schools that you're thinking of applying to? For example, the one at my college was education. There was a lot of education people there studying like early childhood education and like middle school education, things like that. And are they relevant to what you want to study? So a lot of this is kind of figuring out where you want to go with your education, but also making sure that the school that you want to go to is able to provide that. Like one thing that I always regretted was I chose a school that was really good for social science, which is what I wanted to study, but it had no art program, which is something that I would have liked to explore. And I didn't realize that until I was already there and didn't have that option. So that's one thing that you definitely want to like make sure that the school you're going to kind of leaves you some room to figure things out. If you're looking into 2+2 programs, your path may be fairly clear. And those programs have kind of more rigid requirements. You're going to start taking classes for those programs and pathways in your community college degree, your associates, and you're going to continue taking those classes into your bachelor's. Another important aspect of finding the right college for you is social life. So are you looking for a school where you can join clubs, meet people through extracurricular activities, or is the social life of the actual location more important to you? So that's like questions like, do you want to look for a school in a big town versus or a big city versus a small town, or like how big are the class sizes? Like these are just personal things that can help you kind of integrate into the community better. An important part of matching is to remember that if you are a first-generation student, you want to find a school that's going to support you. A lot of the research shows that students that are provided with academic and peer counseling and other first-generation support networks find the most community in schools. They can kind of find like an older sister or brother to relate to share struggles with. And a lot of times the rates for graduation for students that have those support networks are a lot higher.
Maddie, sorry to interrupt. I have a request from one of the teachers. Could you maybe make your screen larger? Like, can you put it in full screen? They said the text looks a little small.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Is that
I hope
better?
that looks better. Yeah, that looks great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Here, I just need to figure out because my speaker notes aren't visible to me now. Oh, sorry, I thought it was full screen for you guys. One sec. Oh, so sorry. All right, how's that?
That looks great. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Okay. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask or get answered by the end, be sure to tell your teacher and they can put it in the chat box. I have a Q&A portion at the end and I would be happy to answer any questions once we get there. So definitely, if you have any questions, please let me know. Here, let me see if I can full screen this. There we go. So finding your path. It's helpful to have a clear idea of what you want to get out of your college degree before embarking on the college experience. So when you're thinking about what you want to go to school for, ask yourself like a few questions, like, have I chosen an attainable career path? What are the major industries where I want to live? How does my personal experience in working in the working world kind of line up with what I could end up doing. I think you guys have a good perspective on education and the working world. Because a lot of times when students go straight from high school to college, they a lot of times don't know what they want to do with this education that they're getting. You guys have kind of a unique perspective where you've lived a little before going to college, and that can be really helpful in figuring out what you want to do. Choosing an educational path is where life experience can come in handy. Finding what you're passionate about, whether it's nursing or education or technology, is an important step towards planning your future and making sure you're getting the best bang for your buck. So it's really about like planning, knowing where you want to go, making sure that you're getting what you want out of your education. So the next slide, this is applying to schools. This is going to be a lot of information just on like what the application process really looks like. It's kind of a lot crammed into a little. So if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat box. I will definitely get to them. So when applying to 2 or 4-year colleges, it's best to do the research, look into what the best school for you is going to be. So step 1 is just look into schools in your area. So if you're looking to start at a local community college, your search may be somewhat easy based on what schools are around. If you're researching 4-year schools or looking into 2+2 degree programs, here are a few things to keep in mind. So one is the academic fit. Like I mentioned, you want to make sure that you're academically prepared for what you're going to go into. That is like considering what you want to study. Will you be able to keep up with the workload? That kind of stuff. Another important aspect is the social fit, and we kind of went over this. This is like, do you find a big school appealing or a small school? What about the class sizes? What about the culture? Like, this is all important in considering where you're going. So step 2 is contacting admissions. So if you're starting with a community college, you can find that application on the website a lot of times. So community colleges will have all of that information online. If you're looking into MCC, all of it is going to be on their page. You also want to look into application fees or waivers or fee waivers. So a lot of times when you're applying to like state schools, I think state schools in New York are around $50 an application. RCSD, and correct me if I'm wrong, Olivia, but I'm pretty sure that RCSD provides fee waivers to all of their students. That is something that I've definitely heard before. So this is something to look into. If you can get that fee waiver, that's definitely going to be worth it. Another thing is uploading FAFSA documents, and we'll go over like what the FAFSA assessment looks like later. And then there's also GED and standardized test scores. And you're going to be getting those from your school, OASIS. There's also proof of identity and mail, proving your residence. Those kinds of things also need to be submitted, as well as high school transcripts. So writing your college essay is also very important. They're typically around 600 to 800 words, and they're really meant to be a vehicle to tell the school a little bit about yourself, why you're applying, who you are, what you've been through. And if you guys have any questions on that, I have a ton of resources for college essays. If you need them, I will be happy to provide them. So for recommendation letters, so you can ask teachers, you can ask employers, school counselors or instructors. You can ask all of these people in your life about giving you a recommendation letter. And so a lot of times you want to choose someone who's seen you at your best. You also sometimes want to provide what's called a brag sheet, where you kind of go over stuff that you've done that that person can talk about. Just in case they don't know, I definitely have made the mistake of not giving someone a brag sheet before, and they actually did not know that much about me, so it wasn't that good of a letter. So I'm just gonna go over like pros and cons of 2-year degrees and 4-year degrees. because they're both great and they have their drawbacks as well. So so 2-year associate's degree programs can be great. Opportunities to start using your GED and continue your education. A few basic pros and cons. One thing that's really important about an associate's degree is that it's affordable. You're going to find that community colleges generally have a significantly lower sticker price than four-year institutions. MCC, for example, is about $2,300 a semester compared to $4,400 at Geneseo, which is a state school, and $3,500 at Brockport, which is also a pretty local state school. So like it varies, but generally you're going to get a lower price at a community college. Another thing is they're very flexible. Community colleges can be more accommodating for scheduling flexibility. For example, MCC offers summer sessions and on-campus childcare, along with online, hybrid, and night classes to fit the schedule of someone who has other priorities, whether they're working or they have a family or they have just other things they need to focus on. A community college is definitely going to be more accommodating for scheduling. It also allows you to focus on your grades. So if you were in high school and you had other priorities and grades weren't really on your radar as much, and say you want to go to a four-year university and get a bachelor's, the time that you have in community college kind of allows you to focus and catch up academically, where maybe you hadn't in high school. So some cons of the 2 years associate's degree, there's really not many. I feel like I would focus more on the pros, but some employers may be looking for bachelor's degrees, and that might be a obstacle that you run into in the future. And generally, on average, they make less money than the bachelor's degree holder. But they're both great options still. So the pros and cons of a bachelor's degree. Pros, generally, they leave more room for career exploration. So if you're looking to kind of learn a lot about one topic, you kind of end up, depending on how much you focus in on one course of study or one major, you end up kind of learning a lot and being able to talk about it and kind of gaining a level of expertise. Career networking opportunities and alumni networks, that's another thing. There's a good amount of opportunities for you to connect with people that have similar views, and whether it's like clubs or like professional development groups or frats and sororities, if that's your thing. There's a lot of different opportunities to kind of get more involved and meet people. The cons are that it is more expensive and it takes longer. And that's how it is. It's also a lot less flexible with, say you have other priorities, the classes are kind of rigid. You need to meet a lot of specific requirements, and the scheduling is not as accommodating as it would be at a community college. And so the 2+2 program, I'm sure you guys have heard of this, but there's like transfer pathways. So you would start at MCC in a specific degree program, and you'd be able to follow those degree requirements all the way to getting your bachelor's in that. And I've also included, I'm going to have like a resource link at the end with all of the resources that I used to create this slideshow. So the degree programs at MCC that are 2+2 will be included in that. And then these are some examples. I just thought it would be nice to like see some actual jobs that you could do with the different degrees. So these are associate's degree jobs. And, you know, it's nice to like see what an education can do for you, because I think a lot of times people end up going headfirst and just saying this education will open up my horizons and not necessarily knowing what they want to do with it. So as you can see here, the associate's degree jobs are more specific. Bachelor's degree jobs are generally going to be more broadly applicable. And that depends on your personal preference, whether you want something that's a little bit more widely or I guess broad, like less specific. It's weird because the bachelor's degree is supposed to be more specific, but you kind of can use it for more things. Or if you want a set job that you know you can do by the end of your education, that's something that you see more in associate's degrees. This was something that I learned doing some research into GED scoring. So with a GED college ready score of 165 or above, you're able to bypass a lot of your college placement exams. So that's nice. Just not having to do those exams, that might save you some money and it might just be a little easier on you. And with a GED college ready score of 175, you can get up to 10 hours of college credit for GED subject areas. So I found that really interesting because that is credits when you're in school. Credits are money. Credits are expensive. So if you're able to get 10 hours of college credit by scoring higher on this test, that might be something that you want to look into before, because you can save yourself a lot of money through that. So financial aid, generally federal aid. If you have heard of FAFSA, FAFSA is basically a federal assessment of your financials, and it can provide information to the government about how much money you need to get through school. When you submit this, admittedly, it's a lengthy assessment. There's a lot of different kind of hoops to jump through with FAFSA. I think that they're making it easier for students to submit, but it takes a lot of time generally. After you submit this, you'll be provided with a combination of federal grants and loans, depending on where you want to apply and what the financial aid package from that school looks like. Within the loans area of the kind of combination of federal aid, there's subsidized loans and unsubsidized. So subsidized are available to students who show financial need. They don't accrue interest, or accrue interest during a deferment period. So the program that me and Olivia are doing, for example, this is a program where you can defer your student loans, so you don't have to pay them until you're done with the program. And so unsubsidized loans do accrue interest, and they're not based on financial need. They're more determined by how expensive your institution is. So if you're thinking about going to a private school, or a kind of more selective institution, as opposed to a community college or a state school, that's where the unsubsidized loans are going to come in. And this was just a helpful thing. I found the net price calculator. You can basically put in the school that you are looking to apply to and put in your very, very basic financial information. It's not as involved as a FAFSA at all. So it's not as accurate as the FAFSA either, but it gives you kind of an estimate of how much aid you would get depending on where you end up. Which I just found that really helpful. And this is both the FAFSA page and the net price calculator are going to be resources in the QR code at the end. And there's also community resources and financial aid. So if you haven't checked this out yet, the Rochester College Access Network website has a lot of really good scholarship information, a lot of good event information for like FAFSA Fest. If you guys have ever heard of that, it's where they get professionals who work on FAFSA for their job to come in and help families and students with filling out the application, because it can be kind of intimidating for some people. So yeah, you're going to want to check out FAFSA Fest. There's also the Financial Empowerment Center, which is linked in the QR code. That's really important. They offer free one-on-one financial counseling to individuals in Rochester. So that's definitely a really good resource to take advantage of if school is something that you're thinking about doing. And so here's the QR code I've been talking about for so long. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, I haven't checked the chat, but I would be happy to answer some.
Does anyone have any questions for Maddie? I also want to remind you guys that we have our Rochester Financial Empowerment Center counselor at Oasis every single Wednesday. Her name is Stacy. She's here right now until 4:30. And she's in the room directly next to mine, so it's room 209. Maddie, if you wouldn't mind just sticking around for a few minutes while students gather their thoughts.
Yeah, of course.
Thank
Yeah, feel free to take a moment, like let all of this sink in. If you want to see another slide, or if you just want me to elaborate on one slide, I can. Again, I'll send this presentation to Olivia and she can help distribute that if that's something that you guys are interested in.
I think we might have a question coming from Gina's class. No, never mind. No questions from anyone? None from our
I got one
GED?
direct message. I got one
Okay.
direct message, so
Cool.
somebody's interested. I'm happy to help. And also I've seen people taking photos of the slides, and that makes me happy because I'm like, yes. Is there anyone else who wants to scan this QR code before I stop screen sharing? I'll give you like a few, like 30 seconds to do that if you want. All right. Well, it was so nice meeting with all of you and getting to share this information about higher education. I hope that it was informative and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Maddie, for joining us. And thank you, classrooms, for attending and listening as always. I appreciate you all. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.